In what is undoubtedly the most explicit exposure of Pakistan's hand in 2611 and its continuing duplicity of the terror investigation, a top-level insider has stepped forward to nail his own establishment. Former chief of Pakistan's Federal Investigation Agency, Tariq Khosa, has dropped a bombshell on Islamabad in the form of a stunning newspaper column published yesterday. A column in which he minced no words in stating that Pakistan was responsible for the 2611 terror attack in Mumbai and that there is no choice but to deal with the attack that was undoubtedly planned and launched from its soil. This, he says, requires facing the truth and admitting mistakes. In what will go down as easily the most unforgiving insider assessment of Pakistan's continuous dodging of responsibility for the globally condemned terror attack, Khosa also says that the entire Nawaz Sharif government and the Pakistan army must ensure that the perpetrators and the masterminds of the ghastly terror attacks are brought to justice. Using words that are already making Islamabad very uncomfortable, Khosa said that the case has lingered on for far too long with dilatory tactics by the defendants, frequent changes of trial judges and the assassination of the case prosecutor, as well as retracting from original testimony by some key witnesses, have been serious setbacks for the prosecutors. All right, joining us now is Hamza Amir, our correspondent from Islamabad, and in the studio, senior editor Gaurav Sawant. First to you, Hamza, how is Islamabad taking these revelations damning because they are nailing Pakistan's role in the Mumbai attacks?
Well, I think Pakistan right now has been quiet. There has no response from the government on this, but obviously they will have a response coming out soon. For now, Pakistan is already in default on the Mumbai terror attack case because there was a 2-month deadline to conclude the case, and after that, Zakir Rahman Lakhvi's bail was supposed to be cancelled, and he was supposed to be behind bars again. That has not happened. So, Pakistan's government is not expected to re-challenge, the case of Zakir Rahman Lakhvi also. So, I think this revelation certainly raises a lot of questions back on what has been said by India, that because it equals with the dossiers and evidences provided by India. And coming from a former DG of a Federal Investigation Agency, it's certainly very alarming that Pakistan has not been taking these things very seriously. And if this case is supposed to be concluded and the perpetrators are supposed to be brought to justice, then obviously these revelations and former DG FIA can be taken as a source of evidence.
All right, Gaurav, now India has continuously been saying and has given dossier on dossier to Pakistan about the involvement of Pakistan's own people in that attack on Mumbai. But coming as it does, this revelation from one of their own people, how much more pressure does that put Islamabad under?
Look, Pakistan is under pressure, but Pakistan is known to deflect pressure. The fact that the head of Federal Investigation Agency is saying that the terror attack was perpetrated from Pakistani soil, he has investigated this matter threadbare. He's making a very important point in his article. He says that the voice samples that India is talking about, the voice VOIP. Now, whose voice is this? There is Hafiz Mohammed Saeed, there's Zakir Rahman Lakhvi, there are officers of Pakistan's ISI and several others. Now, Pakistan came up with the Fair Trial Act in the year 2013. Now, this officer, in the interests of natural justice, is saying that the government of Pakistan should consider this Fair Trial Act to be applied to a case of 2008. And should that happen, terror perpetrators will indeed go to jail. But the big question remains, does Pakistan have the will to go after the terrorists? And sadly, that is what is lacking. Because a lot of what he's saying is not just in public domain. India has given this evidence to Pakistan. Pakistan has carried out its own investigation. But sadly, no action against Hafiz Mohammed Saeed and the Pakistan Army, Navy and ISI officers who were directly involved in this terror attack.
Hamza, coming back to you now, coming as it does, just ahead of what we are hoping will happen in August, the NSA level talks. How is Pakistan preparing then for the National Security Advisor level talks vis-a-vis these revelations?
Well, I think the National Security Advisor level talks are certainly going to be one important point. But yes, only as an exchange of dossiers and the case, that is being formed by Pakistan and India on both sides. regarding the counter-terrorism strategy, regarding Pakistan's contention that, there's penetration of raw in Pakistan and stability in Karachi. They're building up that case to put forward to India, while India obviously has now a very strong case in the Mumbai terror attack related to the revelations made by DG FIA. And, this is something that is very important. But what is important also is that Tariq Khosa has been very careful in using his words in his article. He has not named Lakhvi. He has not named Hafiz Mohammed Saeed. He has not even named who was actually running those operation rooms that he says, are working through voice over IP. So I think while he plays safe, these revelations are certainly on record. And India has now got a very strong case because this is coming from a former DG FIA who is not, someone who is just only giving his opinion. He's got inside details. He was serving officer during that time, and he would have the right information.
Right, Gaurav, as Hamza is pointing out, even though Tariq Khosa may have played safe by not naming the actual perpetrators in his article, but the fact remains that he's putting, or rather pointing the finger at the administration itself, that it allowed that to happen on its soil. Doesn't that give India enough and more evidence now to go after Pakistan, certainly just ahead of the NSA level talks?
Frankly, Maha, since the 1993 Mumbai blast, there is a mountain of evidence of Pakistan's state involvement in spreading terror in India. Whether it was a serial blast of 93 or 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, Pakistan hasn't taken action against those involved in terror. But what Tariq Khosa very cleverly does is he talks about Pakistani state involvement, and that is exactly what India has been saying all about. Give us the voice samples. This is the big bone of contention. We have the evidence. Give us the voice samples of Hafiz Mohammed Saeed, of Zakir Rahman Lakhvi. Then we can match the two, and then you take action against those who are responsible for these terror attacks. Sadly, Pakistan is not doing that, and India may have a mountain of evidence. The Pakistani state, that is the Pakistan Army and the ISI, until they are on board, no amount of peace talks will work.
In fact, let's quickly listen in to some of the experts that we've been speaking to on the subject. Defense expert Sushant Sareen.
A person who is so senior, who is so highly regarded, says that or confesses that this case was allowed to go through, I think that is what is important, and that is precisely what India has been saying, that look, you guys have all the evidence, whatever you required from us we gave you, whatever you could get you got, and yet if you can't prosecute these guys and send them to hell, then there's something seriously wrong.
Hamza, I'll take the point that Gaurav was making. Now, with so much of flack that Pakistan is receiving over doing a U-turn on the UFA talks between the two prime ministers about sharing of voice samples, specifically of Zakir Rahman Lakhvi, is there any effort at this point to facilitate the sharing of voice samples?
Well, as per the courts and even the law, what it says is that without the consent of the person, they cannot actually, force him to give his voice sample. Now, this is also very obvious. They also stated in Tariq Khosa's article that it is very obvious that why would he give the voice samples, especially at a time when that can be actually, used against him and he can be put behind bars and even also punished. Certainly, he would not do that, and he'd say he didn't do it. Zakir Rahman Lakhvi said clearly refused in front of the court that he will not give voice samples. So Pakistan's position right now from the courts is that the voice sample issue is done and dealt with. They cannot take it from him. But what India has been saying for so long, all the dossiers that have been given, they have been actually reaffirmed by Tariq Khosa's article coming from a former DG FIA, and that is something that can be taken forward very, very strongly. And if Pakistan has to go forward, depending on the courts, and also not forgetting the fact that what the kind of delays that have been actually practiced, at the 2 months deadline that has been crossed, no one actually really cared about it.
Okay.
The judge was on holidays. It's funny how a very important case can be only delayed because the judge is on holidays and he cannot come to the court.
Okay.
So these certain things that are very important that can be taken forward in the NSA meeting coming up.
Okay.
And India has got a very stronger case in front of Pakistan now.
All right, now let's quickly listen into what the former Home Secretary G.K. Pillai had to say on these revelations.
They are aware. I think what has really gone wrong with them is on the trial. They are not willing to produce this evidence before the trial. There is no will because if they go ahead and prosecute Lakwi and Hafiz Saeed, then the involvement of the Pakistan ISI will come out. And that is something which they don't want to do, which is one of the reasons why the entire, the trial has been made into a farce by changing magistrates and having so many repeated adjournments that the case has not moved at all.
Let me go back to Gaurav Sawant now. Gaurav, even though Pakistan has given the excuse, and specifically by Sartaj Aziz, who said that the courts would not allow sharing of voice samples of Zakir Rahman Lakwi, but there are ways and means of circumventing that if Pakistan does indeed want to share the voice samples. Am I correct?
Maha, you've hit the nail on its head. Voice samples will only buttress the case. There is a mountain of evidence. It's not as if this case is not moving forward just because voice samples haven't been exchanged.
Right.
There is a mountain of evidence that nails the role of Zakir Rahman Lakwi, also of Hafiz Mohammed Saeed. Unfortunately, the Pakistani state lacks the will to act against terrorists who are targeting India. And that is why this case isn't moving forward, whether it's the killing of a prosecutor or frequently changing judges or now Zakir Rahman Lakwi coming out of bail. All of this are just delaying tactics. There's a very sad aspect of this. India is hoping that Pakistan would take action against Hafiz Mohammed Saeed. Pakistan is not even taking action against Zakir Rahman Lakwi. When India mounts pressure, they will act against Zakir Rahman Lakwi and the world will say, wow, they've taken action. And the real action that needs to be taken against the real perpetrators of terror, which is Hafiz Saeed and the state actors, that sadly will not happen despite evidence coming in from David Coleman Headley also.
And Hafiz Saeed continues to make inflammatory speeches, Gaurav.
That is, he's the source of all terror. He is the ideologue and he motivates others. There are several other aspects of it. Hafiz Mohammed Saeed is one part of the story. There's Zakir Rahman Lakwi, there's Zarar Shah, that's the Lashkar-e-Taiba. There are others. The Indian Mujahideen, the Indian leg has been taken care of. But then there is the Jaish-e-Mohammed, which is operating out of south of Punjab. No action has been taken against Maulana Masood Azhar. There are several others. There's Sayyid Salahuddin in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. So this is a hydra-headed monster that Pakistan is encouraging to target India. And then there are others, and now this new Taliban commander once again operating in tandem with the Pakistan army is bad news for India.
Hamza, is Islamabad at the moment just setting aside what Tariq Khosa has said as perhaps a disgruntled investigator, or are they really shaken by these revelations that he's made in a column?
Well, see, Pakistan and also the Pakistani courts have been saying that there's not enough evidence to actually, put Zakir Rahman Lakwi or even Hafiz Saeed behind bars and punish them. But with the new revelation coming in, it's actually echoing with the same, dossiers and evidences provided by India to Pakistan. That means that coming from an DG FIA who knew the ins and outs of everything going on, he's not only highlighted the fact that there were operation rooms operating in Karachi, terror camps operating of Lashkar-e-Taiba in Sindh and other provinces, he's also highlighted how it was done. And that is something that Pakistan has been in denial of. So obviously the pressure is very, very high. It's actually hit them really hard. That what these kind of revelations that Pakistan has been denying as lack of evidence is certainly that is on record. And if DG FIA can say this, then that means that he's reaffirming the fact that this was done and orchestrated from Pakistan soil. So that is why Pakistan is being silent on this and trying to, give it more time before they respond, because even the Foreign Office in Pakistan has been, lip-tied. I've tried to speak to them and they've said, no, right now we don't want to comment on it. We will go through the article first. While it's been over 24 hours to the article, and it creates more hurdles for Pakistan in denying the fact that the dossiers given from India are very, very important and they are pure evidence.
Gaurav, what I'd like to understand from you is that this comes, these revelations come from a main investigator of 2611 in Pakistan. Can this column not be taken as a means for India to diplomatically question Pakistan, at least based on this article alone?
Well, India, I am sure, will do that. Now, there is a mountain of evidence that India has already produced. As you rightly pointed out yourself, Maha, one dossier after the other has been submitted to Pakistan. Even when the terror attacks were underway, there was direct evidence of Pakistan's involvement in these terror attacks. So, one dossier after the other given to Pakistan, David Coleman Headley's testimony, Abu Jundal's testimony, other evidence that came in from India and from Pakistan that nails Pakistan's role. The problem is Pakistan's lack of will to tackle terrorists that are harming India. So what is it that India can do in such a situation? Perhaps the option that Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar had suggested, use Pakistan's own guns to target Pakistan to ensure India remains safe. Now you can't say that, but perhaps that's the only way, with Pakistan not taking action against terrorists.
Gaurav, the dossier that India gave is evidence that India has collected and about the players. But this revelation comes from the person who is investigating the matter in Pakistan itself. Can that not alone be grounds to diplomatically question Pakistan at this juncture?
It is grounds to question Pakistan, because the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval can ask Sartaj Aziz, look, this is your own man who's talking about this. These are your investigations, now act. But very cleverly, Tariq Khosa also talks about the role of Ajmal Amir Kasab, training in Sindh. All of that is perhaps the tactical level intelligence or operations. Who were the masterminds? Who were the officers who were training these terrorists? Now that is still to come out. And since 2008 to 2015, Pakistan has had 7 years to investigate the role of those who were giving this training to these terrorists, and sadly no action has been taken against them.
Hamza, I want to raise one question to you at the moment, is about the NSA level talks. Now at UFA it was decided in principle that will be held. India has suggested dates 23rd, 24th of August, but yet Pakistan has not responded to those dates. What exactly is happening? What is the thinking in Pakistan at the moment about the NSA level talks? Because I do understand that there was a certain level of discomfort in Pakistan after Nawaz Sharif came back, where many felt that he had given in UFA.
Well, yes, in fact, there was a lot of pressure on Nawaz Sharif, because it was talked about the fact that he did not mention Kashmir, and Kashmir has gone on the back burner on Pakistan table as well. This is something that actually haunted Nawaz Sharif. Now, with the ongoing tensions on the line of control and other issues happening, and even especially, politically in domestic politics in Pakistan, every other party is being related to RAW, funded by RAW, or either supported by RAW, or either, having affiliates, in some way, one way or the other. And this is going on. So I think that is why they're actually weighing their, position right now. They haven't responded on the confirmation of the dates of the NSA meeting in Delhi. And also they're looking at options of if, they will be even able to, do this meeting in Delhi also or not, because right now Pakistan's position on many issues, including the latest revelations by Tariq Khosa, is becoming really weak. Other than the only contention they have is the accusation that India is involved in instability in Karachi and other places in Pakistan. To Khosa comes up with the revelation that there are terror camps in Thatta, Sindh, and other parts of Pakistan operating very freely. That is where Pakistan goes quiet and goes silent, and that is why I think right now they're still on the verge of deciding if they even want to go ahead with talks or not.
Gaurav, what I can see is that Tariq Khosa is trying to slam the establishment for what he believes are delaying tactics, frequent change of trial judges, the assassination of the case prosecutor, and retracting of testimony by some witnesses. Now, is that the core concern at the moment, even as far as India goes, that these delaying tactics are actually meant to derail the entire investigation?
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his interaction with Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, made it very clear, for India and Pakistan's relationship to move forward, there has to be tangible action against India-centric terror. This is something that India has made very clear to Pakistan on more than one occasion, whether it was when Nawaz Sharif came to India for Prime Minister Modi's swearing in, or their subsequent interactions, and including the latest interaction at UFA. So after this, if Pakistan continues with the delaying tactics, it's very apparent that the ball is not in Nawaz Sharif's court. There's a bigger player there, and that is Pakistan's army, the ISI, and which is what you and I would generally refer to as the Mil Jihad complex in Pakistan. So this Mil Jihad complex in Pakistan does not want action against India-centric terror, and that is why these delaying tactics. As far as India is concerned, many say that India is actually looking for a face saver, take some action against the 26/11 perpetrators so that the relationship can move forward on other fronts. But as far as my sources in the government tell me, that Pakistan should take action against 26/11 perpetrators for the relationship to move forward. But if there is terror from Pakistan, or actions along the line of control, there would be equal and opposite reaction from India, and that is something that Pakistan needs to be very clear about.
Hamza, we are also seeing continuous ceasefire violations, and you know what India fears rather is that the cover is being provided by the Pakistan army for the infiltrators to get into India. Those are also now, that is also hampering, you know, the bettering of ties between the two sides. What is Pakistan's thinking at this point in time? Because I understand that there were reports that this is a concerted effort to push in infiltrators.
Well, see, in Pakistan, what is happening is that, the political government of Nawaz Sharif has understood the fact from history that they cannot actually, take decisions without the consent of the military establishment. That is very, very clear. So now every decision that the government takes related to India or even on the line of control or whatever happens in Pakistan is actually with the consent of the military establishment. And I think this is the reason why there are, this NSA meeting and also the Pakistan-India bilateral talks or even the Mumbai terror attack case has been, lingering in the courts. The courts are only being used to delay the process forward, because there's no one in Pakistan that would actually want to go against the military establishment. And that is why, even with the line of control issue going on, there is always a two-side story. From the Indian side, they say it's a violation. From the Pakistan side, they say it's a violation from the Indian side.
This
has been going on. But as soon as we come closer to the bilateral talks, we always see this happening. All the line of control tensions reoccur every now and then. That means that the military establishment certainly is not ready to have Pakistan and India, bilateral or even diplomatic relations move forward. Okay. And I think when they don't want it, you might not see happening in the future as well.
But certainly revelations from the top Pakistani investigator making Islamabad nervous at the moment, coming as it does just ahead of the NSA level talks. Hamza Amir and Gaurav Sawant, many thanks for joining us with that perspective.